Hey everybody, this is Matt from mattrandall.com, where time, money, and energy equals freedom. And today is a cooking lesson, which actually relates to somewhat time and money. So how do I make a fancy meal for not so fancy money? It's really kind of fun and easy. Today I'm making something that I call paradise eggs, pair of dice eggs. So they're boiled eggs and they look like a pair of dice. This, this sounds really strange. So, because to make a pair of dice, you would need a square egg, right? And on square eggs would only come from square chickens. They are so rare. It's so hard to find a square chicken. Let me show you how this works. This is a square egg mold. So I boiled some eggs, I hard boiled the eggs, and then brought them down to just a warm temperature where I could peel them properly. And then you stick them in this, what looks like a medieval torture device, and you squish them down. And out pops a square egg. So you put the egg in, you screw it down, and then you put it in the fridge for 15 minutes, or you put it under some ice water. I have another one over here. We're going to make a pair of dice for a fancy meal that I'm preparing for Sunday dinner for my family. So I'm going French cuisine. It's going to be 5 courses. Look at that. Isn't that just the most adorable thing? And how fun is that? It's going to be 5 courses, and this is the opening appetizer. So here we go. How do you make a pair of dice? Well, the eggs are pretty inexpensive. I'm going to take caviar. Not inexpensive necessarily, but I happen to find this jar on Amazon. It's pretty decent quality black lumpfish caviar. I honestly, the price was good. So there's no reason to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on caviar when you can get it for a lot less. And I'll put the link in the description here. I'm going to put the lumpfish right here, the caviar right there. And I'll show you what we're doing with that in a moment to make it look super duper fancy. To make it a pair of dice, I'm taking a pair of tweezers. And I'm going to put on the top of the dice just some individual caviar. Now, you could decorate this almost any way you want. And you have to be very careful not to pop the eggs as you're picking them up. There we go. I'm going to put a number 5 on this one. And then, let's do a 6 on this one. And I'm going a little fast, so this is, come on. It's stuck to the tweezers. There we go. Going a little fast. It might not be as neat as you might want it to be. Actually, I'm just going to move a couple of eggs. Nah, the heck with it. This is just for demonstration. All right, so show you that right here. So now we have the numbers on the top of the eggs. We have a pair of dice. You need something. I mean, you need some sort of condiment, don't you, to go with the eggs. So I happen to like mustard. I'm going to use 3 different types of mustard. Now, you remember this lump of caviar. I always forget. You got to shake it up first so you don't get watery on the top. I'm going to put a good healthy drop of Dijon, and then another healthy drop of honey mustard, and then honey Dijon. So everybody has a choice of which type of mustard they might want to dip their egg in when they cut it. And just a lump like that doesn't look terribly impressive. So we take the spoon, the back of the spoon, and if you can see this, I'm going to lay the back of the spoon on this, press it in just gently, and then smear in a semicircle. Don't want to mix the flavors. Smear. And then, again, a little smear. It was that easy. I'm going to plate this tonight, right before dinner, so everything is cold and fresh. And I'm going to bring that a little closer to the camera. And you can see how fancy and fun this is going to be for the first appetizer for dinner tonight. Wait till you see what I'm doing with pears next. Alrighty, I will put links to these that I found, the egg molds that I found on Amazon, and the caviar that I found also on Amazon. Pretty easy. The mustard, get that at your local grocery store. Don't do that. And the rest of the other 4 courses are going to include other fancy things. So watch for the next videos. You're going to love that. Easy, high-end, plated, Michelin star rating dishes that are fun, easy, and very inexpensive. This entire appetizer for 5 people, a couple of dollars. Really, a couple of dollars. That's it. And thank you. All right, so stay tuned for more. Come back, like, subscribe, follow my Facebook channel, follow my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, please, because that's where you're going to see all of these things together. Facebook, as you know, is a little hard to find some of these things sometimes when you try to go back and find it again. So that's it. Thanks, Matt Randall from mattrandall.com. Hey everybody, it's Matt again from mattrandall.com, where time, money, and energy equals freedom. And I'm doing French gourmet for a Sunday dinner for the family today. And as part of that, I'm doing a pea soup. It's a pea soup creme fraiche. And my French is terrible. Please, give me some grace on that. My French is terrible. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what I'm making. Okay, so I diced some onions, chopped up some carrots, and throw them in the pot to saute. Yeah, there's a word for that. We're speaking French here today. So I'm sauteing the onions until what looks like they're pretty clear at this point. So I'm going to use an organic vegetable broth. I know that most recipes call for a chicken stock. That's not my thing because I don't do meat normally. We can talk about that some other time. So I'm going to dump in the vegetable broth. There we go. Slowly we move. Okay. All right, and then we come over here where I have rinsed the peas, and then the peas go in the pot. Oh, I'm trying to do this one-handed. Okay. Look at that. Pretty darn amazing. And then we stir that in. So I have in here also a little bit of olive oil to saute things in, and some garlic. And then what I'm going to do in the end is show you how I blend it, turn it into pea soup, and add the creme fraiche. And then we'll see what it looks like in the end when we plate it decoratively. Okay, the peas are tender and the carrots are tender, so it's time to add some seasoning, and then the next stage will be to blend it down. So I'm going to start with just a little, I never use this scoop. I should use this scoop. A little bit of salt, not too much, because, I tend to overdo it. All right, I like Italian seasoning in my pea soups, so I'm going to put in a little bit of thyme and some oregano. There we go. Let me see, what we got? Rosemary. Here we go. Okay, got some black pepper. Be gentle with that. There we go. Otherwise, when you cook down black pepper, it tends to bring out the heat. And then some basil. Basil's my favorite. I don't know how people can live without basil. There we go. Stir that around. I'm going to put it back on the stove for just a little bit to let the flavors, I think the term is marry, let the flavors marry. And that means for all these herbs to really get softened up and integrated into the mix. And then I'm going to show you the secret. The recipe calls for blending it in batches. You take it out a cup at a time, you throw it in a blender. I have a much easier method for doing that. So, see you in a moment. Hey, it's Matt again. We're back again here with the pea soup. The pea soup, the peas have finally softened. The flavors have married since I added the herbs. And I told you there was an easier way to blend it so we get that smooth, creamy pea soup consistency. The recipe, and you look up most recipes, they're going to tell you take it out a cup at a time, throw it in a blender, you do it in portions. What a pain. I have tried that before. That is a total pain in the butt. Plunge mixer, right? Plunge mixer or plunge blender, whatever you want to call it. This one, we've had it for so long. I don't know where we got it. I can't give you a link, but it has settings on the top. You can adjust the speed. You got 2 different buttons, and this one is just great. There, it's hooked on a knob. So now what you have to be careful of is in and out with the plunge blender, because you can splatter things all over the place just like you would with a hand mixer, right? So here we go. Move it around a little bit. Yep, be careful tilting it. There we go. I got some splatter. And in just a few moments, the carrots are blended, the peas are blended, everything is chopped up pretty fine, and we get that soupy consistency. Oh, I love the smell of pea soup. There we go. Now I throw it back on the stove, so I reduce it down till it's the consistency that I like. I like my pea soup thick, just like they say about the weather. It's as thick as pea soup. Well, that's the way I like mine. Almost to the point where you can eat it with a fork, but no, not really. So this, by the way, to make it a pea soup creme fraiche, I'm going to take sour cream later on. Now you can use heavy cream. I'm going to use sour cream in this one, and I'll show you how that goes when we get to that point and I start plating it, because that is something you do right before you plate it. And it takes this is not my skill set, it's not my talent, but it's really the same concept in the design as you would with I don't drink coffee, but when you order a coffee and they do that fancy cream design, milk design on the top, yeah, what is that? Is that a cappuccino or something? In any case, that's what we want to do with the soup. All right. See you when we get to that point. Hey, everybody, it's Matt from mattrandall.com, and I had a couple of questions as I was cooking over here about how to dice an onion. And a lot depends on what you're using it for. Sometimes you want slices, but sometimes most often you want them diced. So pardon the camera angle. This is just easier for you to see what I'm doing. And to make it short, I already did a couple of easy steps. I cut off the roots and the head, and then I sliced the onion in half and peeled it. So the easiest way to peel an onion is to do that. Now, here's the real secret to how you get a diced onion. So working towards the center, right? Working towards the center of the onion, I'm going to make slices. Now I'm going to go about 90% of the way through over here. Not all the way, so that, and I'm doing this right in towards the middle over time. So what I have is this. See how that's holding together? Finish slicing it. Again, always pointing the knife in towards the center. And then, boom. All right, now dice it. How big do you want your dices? How big do you want your chunks? It's that easy, folks. Get the idea? Hey everybody, this is Matt again from mattrandall.com, and this is going to be a surprise salad. It's technically a salad, but it's more of an appetizer, a dressed up appetizer for my French gourmet dinner this evening. It is roasted beet and goat cheese towers, and you'll have to see what the towers are. Roasting the beets was actually fairly simple. You wrap them in oil, stick them in the oven for an hour, and voila. We're working on French, right? So we want to see. I'm covered in beet juice. I don't want to get it all in my towel because I know darn well that is simply not going to do. And slice it. Oh, these are so tender. We want thick slices for this. And then watch what I'm going to do with the slices to make it decorative. Because normally you would want to peel this, but I don't need to peel it because I'm going to use a cookie cutter. Oh, and this is going to be so fun and decorative. So, now we get rid of the peels, and we have star-shaped beets. Look at that. And I'm going to layer this. Wait until you see later on how I layer this. So much fun, and oh, it smells so sweet and delicious. So you mix that with the goat cheese, and then you have the sweet and the salty savory at the same time. What a great complementary flavor set. All right, so this is what it looks like when the cookie cutter is done with the beets. So picture this, these are going to be layered. You get a red beet on the bottom, and then a layer of goat cheese, and then an orange beet, and then another layer of goat cheese. And in between is also, wait until you see what I do with these pears. So the recipe for the beet towers with goat cheese calls for toasted pecans. And I bought some pecans at the store yesterday. I'm going to toast these. People differ depending on what you want to do with these. I want to toast mine in butter. I like the buttery flavor to it. You can use oil. You can use plain. You don't even need anything on there. But I'm going to use a little butter and salt because I want that flavor in the roasted beet salad, remember. Just a touch of the saltiness from the butter and the salt. So I'll show you how that works in just a moment. All right, so here we are. I'm using my cast iron pan, and I'm going to use butter, as I mentioned. So throw in plenty of butter. Let that melt. Now, the pecans, normally you want to use full size, but the recipe calls for chopping them anyway, so I bought the chopped pecans. What you have to watch out for when you're using that is not to let them burn. You want to toast them in here for about 4 minutes or so, stirring so they don't burn too badly. And I'm going to throw in some sea salt. I always use the Baja Gold sea salt. I can put a link to that. That's enough. That's enough. I'm kind of a saltaholic. I'll put in a link for that in here so that you can get some if you want some, because it's honestly the best salt. I have tried Himalayan. I've tried Celtic. I've tried, regular, processed sea salt. The Baja Gold is the best. And you look how nice and glazed these look now. So this is great. We're gonna just let that cook down for a little bit, and then 4 minutes later or so, making sure they don't burn. We just want them toasted so they have some flavor. And then those are going to go on the goat cheese, beet and goat cheese towers. Hey, back again. Remember those pears I've mentioned a couple of times? Well, we're finally going to deal with the pears. And I had a couple of people, while I'm thinking about it, a couple of people asked me about my cutting board. This is one that I'm just learning to use. It sounds weird because the cutting board's a cutting board, right? But if you look at over here, it says TI. I don't know if I can show you that. Yeah, there we go. Right? So it says TI on there. And for those people who remember their periodic table of elements, this is titanium. So it's a solid titanium cutting board. And why would I be using that? They're not cheap. They're not terribly expensive either. I got a set of 3 for, I think it was less than $40. But I'm replacing the plastic cutting boards in the house. So those are all going away. I'm working on reducing microplastics in the home. So this is one of my methods for doing that. Now the pears need to be caramelized. So I'm going to start by trimming those halfway. That's all I want is halfway, because I want big slices. Need to get a spoon. Should have done that before. Sorry. And with the spoon, I'm going to cut out, just going to chop out that midsection piece in here with the seeds. So the core, that's the word I wanted. Wow, word recall today. Look at that. All right. Almost have it. There we go. All right, so the core is gone, and I don't really need this end piece either. From there, I want some somewhat thin slices like this. And that's going to go into the pan when I change the camera angle for you in a little bit. And we're going to caramelize that. Now, there are different ways you can do that, different ingredients you can use. For me, in this recipe, I'm going to be using honey. Quite often, caramelizing involves processed sugar. I don't want that, and actually the recipe doesn't call for it. So, there's that piece. I'll see you at the stovetop. All right, here we are at the stovetop, ready to caramelize the pears. So I've got the cast iron pan hot and ready to go. Whoops, sorry, getting in the camera. Throw in the pears. So what is caramelizing, for those who might not know? It's basically the idea of reducing sugar and using it to coat. So you reduce it down to its more solid form and you use it to coat something. Caramelized onions is another thing that people do. So, and I'm going to use the tongs here to spread them out. You want them nice single layer. We'll have to do this in multiple things. Then they're going to rest in the pan over here with the orange beets. And then we drizzle some honey on that, and we're going to reduce it down. It only takes a few minutes. We don't want to kill the pear. We just want to coat them and sweeten them. Right. There we go. So now the honey is reducing. And then when they start to look golden brown, we flip them. And that's going to take just a few moments. All right, so I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, it's only been a few minutes, I know, not for you. Now you can start to see where the honey is solidifying, it's caramelizing, and it's turning everything nice and brown as the pears get coated. Wonderful. Now, by the way, I only use raw and unfiltered honey. Honestly, I wouldn't trust anything else because you don't know where it comes from, you don't know how it's been processed. So raw and unfiltered, local if you can. And I do know some beekeepers in the area. I need to start buying from them local honey. So we're almost there. I've got a couple more batches. You can see over here I have some more. So I have a few more batches to do. Now some of these caramelized pears are going to go in the beet and goat cheese towers. Some of them are going to go on the demi salad that I'm creating. Yeah, and so they'll get some usage. Hey everybody, it's Matt again from mattrandall.com, and I'm getting ready to set the table. I'm almost done setting the table actually for our fancy feast this Sunday family dinner. It's as you know, it's French gourmet. There's going to be 5 courses, and I want it to look really special. So I'm doing a napkin design, and I'm putting this in the soup bowls. It's a variation on a design called the lily. Now the lily would have these ends tucked in, which is great. I want them out just because that's how I roll. So how do we make this? It's actually very easy to do. I'm going to take a square napkin, fold the top corner down, and then the two end corners in, and then fold it back again halfway to the top, like that. So far pretty easy, right? Now the bottom piece, I'm going to take the corner about a third, and then up to the center, and then one more roll, and we flip it over. All right. Turn one end in, tuck the other side inside it, flip it over again, roll the petals down, and boom. Round off the bottom, goes right in the bowl. So simple. Now, once again, the only difference between this and the traditional lily would be that these would be tucked in, and there is your lily flower design. It's hard to see black on black, isn't it? So I'm just going to leave these out. And that is going to be the final touch for making the place setting look really awesome for our Sunday family dinner. Hey everybody, it's Matt again with MattRandall.com and the continuing saga of the Sunday dinner, a 5-course, is it 5 courses now? 5-course French gourmet meal. And this is we're going to assemble the dessert. Since we're in French today is the pièce de résistance, right? And once again, I took Spanish in high school, so my French, not so good. In any case, we're putting a puff pastry with, I'm cheating by using a cream cheese cake frosting and putting that together with blueberry and raspberry. Now why? Because I've got the red, white, and blue, which I know is the United States, but it's also the French flag. So let's put this all together. And remember, it's extremely simple dessert, but it's all about presentation. So I'm going to do my best to be a pastry chef here for a moment. And what I'm looking for is I use a pastry bag. You ever use one of those? It's pretty cool stuff. So try to get it not to squirt out the top end. That's the hard part for me. So I'm going to put some little squirts in here of icing, and I want to leave gaps so I can put in the blueberries and raspberries and that. So the bottom layer here is going to be blueberries. And fill that in. Now, I made the puff pastry. Oh, geez, I totally skipped a whole step here. I made the puff pastry, bought a package. I threw it away, sorry. Package. It's really easy. You let it defrost. So you find it in the freezer section, in the dairy section in my store. And then you let it defrost, unfold it, cut it into squares, stick it in the oven for 15 minutes at 400. So simple, and it comes out like this, just really easy to do. I'm going to stick a small blueberry on this end. Then I need a little more cheese to hold this together, so I'm going to put that in between the blueberries just so it sticks. And then the raspberries are a little bit bigger. And now we have our red, white, and blue. It's so French. Oh no! Popped a hole in the bag. Okay. So that needs to go there. And let's see, we put the top on. I'll need to get a new bag. Now, pardon me, since we're trying to make this look really nice, I need to clean up the mess around here. So we just wipe that off the plate. This becomes the centerpiece, not the crumbs. We're going to lightly sprinkle this with some powdered sugar. And we get that all over the plate. And then on the oven right now, I have in a double boiler. Come on. There we go. Milk chocolate that's been warming. And we're going to drizzle that. Yeah, there we go. All over the place. Now, I'm sure that there are people out there who are looking at this and they're kind of horrified at the mess I'm making. And I'm going to find another pastry bag to do the drizzle. But you get the idea of how that works. It's so simple, so easy, and delicious. No, I was going to try to say it's relatively healthy, but no, not really. I mean, you got the blueberries and the strawberries. So, there we have it. All right. And once I get another pastry bag to do the chocolate and drizzle that better, that's going to look much nicer. So, pastry puff, French, red, white, and blue with blueberry and raspberry. Simple, very easy. I mean, the whole thing took me like half an hour. So there, and this will be a lot of fun for dessert. All right, thanks everybody. All right, it's crunch time. Here we go. I'm starting on the chicken fricassee, the main entree for this meal. So gosh, let's see, some chicken, some butter, onion, garlic, should be carrots. You don't have any carrots left. I put them in the pea soup. Whatever. A little thyme, some flour, white wine, chicken stock, heavy cream in the end. Right now I'm browning the chicken. You can see that. Yep, it's time to stop that process and move on to the next piece, which will be the roasted sweet potatoes. So catch up probably towards the end when I'm ready to plate that stuff.